welcome to episode 62 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I'm Devin Ventry. You can find me online on my website at knittymcpurly.com and on Instagram as Knitty McPurly. And if you want to email me, devin@knittymcpurly.com. Please subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that stuff. I feel so YouTubey when I say that. But anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I did. What did we do? We had Christmas, and then after Christmas, I started feeling really sick. And I was like, I didn't feel like sick, like I didn't feel like I had something. It just felt like really bad allergies. Like I was tired and I had all this like pain in here in my post-nasal drip and all this. And I was like, it just feels like I have really bad allergies. Now in Virginia, it has been crazy warm. So I'm thinking things must be blooming too early and I'm having these terrible allergies. So, my husband and I are trying to figure this out. And then we go to take down the Christmas tree because we bought it really early because there was supposedly this Christmas tree shortage. I'm totally going to talk about knitting. I totally am. So we'd had it up a long time and it was drying out. Normally we like to leave it up till Epiphany, but we just had to take it down. So we go to pull the Christmas tree out and there is black mold in the Christmas tree bottom, the tree bottom in the water. And I was like, well, that solves that problem. So once we got it out of there and we got everything clean, and I like deep cleaned after that because I'm like, who knows where the mold spores went. So I completely deep cleaned everything. I vacuumed everything, dusted, changed all the filters in the house, and it's all better now. So that happened. And now it is New Year's Eve. Some people get super excited about New Year's Eve. I don't really. My husband and I have a long-standing tradition of going to bed by 9. We were actually invited to a party tonight, but I don't think we're going to make it. I spent 5 hours yesterday cleaning out my basement, which was awesome. I got rid of a ton of stuff. That was great. But yeah. So anyway, it's been a good break. It's been restful and relaxing a little bit, but mostly it's been a lot of cleaning and prepping and yeah. So anyway, progress in shop news. Finally, the Knitty McPurly November sock knit along. Actually, I can't even remember what I called it, but the sock knit along from November. Finally, I chose a winner. I just forgot about it. And so it's funny because I went back and I did the random number thing and I figured out who it was. And it is Butterfly Bear 00. Her name is Cheryl Lee and she is Canadian. And she won a prize package from me, which I haven't mailed out yet, Cheryl Lee, but I will. Anyway, the day that I chose the winner, I put it up on Instagram. And a lot of times people will see it and they'll respond. And she didn't. So then I sent her an instant message saying, you won. And she goes, today's my birthday. I was like, are you kidding me? That's awesome. So my procrastination meant a wonderful birthday surprise for somebody. See? Good things. It all comes around. Okay, big news. This is big news for retreat people who are interested in the retreat. About a third of you who are interested said, either I can't do December or I could do it, but it's going to be hard. December, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, is just a really hard time. And so you spoke and I listened and I have moved the retreat. The retreat is now going to be in January of 2023. So a year from now, it's the last weekend in January, the 26th, which is a Thursday, through the 29th. And this is going to be the same place. I have not signed a contract yet, so I'm not going to give too many more details. But next week on the podcast, by that time, I will have all the details that I can have this far out in advance. And I will have the sign-up date. The sign-up date is going to be in January, this January. I'll let you know well ahead of time so you can plan. There's going to be a small deposit, I think probably $75 non-refundable deposit that will be due right away just to secure your spot. the bulk of the rest of it, which like I said, will be less than $600. And let me talk about that for a sec, because some people were like, wait a minute, like, what does that include? Like, that's not very much money. And I was like, I know, like I was aiming for it costing about $1,000 a person. That was kind of my goal. I'm like, I really don't want it to cost more than that, because a lot of people will have to add their travel onto that. Some people might want to rent a car. And so I just didn't want it to be too expensive. So I looked at a lot of different places and I really went the spectrum. Some places are crazy expensive and some places are reasonable, but you're in a cabin and there's stairs everywhere. And there's, you know, what if somebody is, has a walker, or, you know, if somebody has any kind of special needs, it wasn't going to work. So I managed to find a place. And again, I'll tell you more about it next week, but this place is great. I don't want you to feel like, oh, it's a good price, so it's going to be junky. It is not. It is an historical hotel. Everyone will have their own bed. Everyone will be sharing a room, 2 people per room. The rooms are very affordable because this is a place that was founded by the Methodist Church way back, and it is a nonprofit. So their prices are just really reasonable. And they expect for people like us to come. And I told them, I'm like, you know, this is not a Christian retreat. It's a knitting retreat. But probably most people are Christians. And the ones who aren't are going to be nice anyway. So, so, you know, like they're very accommodating. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm really, really excited about it. So watch the podcast next week. I will have full details for you then. I'll have the date for sign up. Plan on a $75 non-refund. And I say non-refundable, meaning that I have to secure the place and I have to put down a non-refundable deposit. So that's why it's non-refundable. But that said, I think probably based on the number of you that are interested, I think I will have a waiting list, which is good because if anyone can't make it, then there's someone who can buy your spot from you if it goes that way. But the rest of the money is not going to be due until probably November of 2022. And like I said, it's only going to be about $500 more. So you'll be able to have time to save up for it and you'll be able to plan accordingly for that. It'll give you money to spend at the marketplace. There will be a marketplace. I have a lot of people who are interested in coming and vending. I will definitely be vending. If you are someone who would like to come and vend, when you sign up, there will be an option that you can say, yes, I want to be a vendor. And we can work all that out. This is my first, other than my wedding, which I planned single-handedly, by the way. I mean, it was 20 years ago, but I'm still kind of riding that wave. Other than my wedding, I have never planned a big event like this, but I have a lot of confidence and I know who to ask when I don't know what to do. And my husband is great with numbers. So I think that this is going to be awesome. That said, you know, don't get mad at me if I mess something up. I'm really going to try my best not to mess anything up. I think it's going to be great. Working with the people at this place has been amazing. They know what they're doing. It's just, I feel like this was just handed to me, like, here you go. And God willing, we can make this a yearly retreat. And January feels like a great time because it's after the holidays and, you know, life just kind of settles down a little bit more. So that is the retreat. I hope no one is disappointed that I changed the date. I have a feeling no one is going to be. My main motivation for putting it in December originally was that they'd have all the Christmas decorations up because they do a lot of amazing decorations. But when I heard back from you guys, convenience and less stress outweighed decorations. So, and I felt the same way. I feel the same way that it will be a lot less stress for me in January too. So that's that. If you have any comments you want to make about that, please let me know. Your comments, I read them and I take them to heart and I'm willing to change things based on them. So not anymore though. That's the date. Like I'm definitely committed to the date of January 26th through the 29th, not this January, but in 2023. So you have a whole year to plan for it. And again, it will be outside Asheville, North Carolina. If you're looking at flights, if you just want to, check what the flights will be like, it's probably too early to book a flight. It's definitely too early to book a flight, but you would be flying into the Asheville airport. There are other airports, but I want to say the Asheville airport is about 30 minutes out. And we can figure out car rentals and things like that closer to the time. Anyway, that's the retreat. Very, very excited. Okay, the Lent Mystery Knit Along Calendar. It goes up for sale tomorrow, Saturday, January 1st at, I don't remember. Let's say noon. I'll put it for noon. I can't remember. I set it for something and now I can't remember. So I'll go and check it, and it'll be up at noon tomorrow on Saturday. That is Eastern time. So if you are on the West Coast, that's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning. If you're somewhere else and you expect to get it by Lent, leave me a note. I always get international orders for these things, and I love it. I love you guys so much. I just want you to get it on time. So if you order it internationally, I can't guarantee that it'll be there on time, but in the continental US, it'll definitely be there by March 3rd, which is Ash Wednesday. I have started dyeing this mystery knit along, and it is fabulous. I love it. It's kind of dark and stormy, and it's neutrally, and I just love it so much. I'm working on the shawl design. This is a shawl. I don't think they're all going to be shawls like forever and ever, but this one is going to be. I've wanted a Lent shawl for a while, like with Lent colors that just is kind of dark and stormy, and this is going to be it. So I'm excited about it. It's not going to be as basic as the Advent one was. This one's going to have a little bit more times where you have to pay attention, though it will not be like all pay attention knitting. There would definitely be some TV knitting in there. Anyway, tomorrow, January 1st, noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Go pick up your pre-order for the Lent calendar, and that will ship probably 2 weeks before. What's up, Rocky? Rocky's in here.
He's sneezing.
Aw. It'll be here I'll mail it out about 2 weeks before Lent starts so that you will have it on time. Yes, very exciting. That's what I've been working on pretty much. It's so much fun. Okay, finally, the Blocked magazine. I don't think I knew the name of it last week, but the name of the magazine, the free magazine that's coming out on February 1st, is called Blocked. And Neil, United Kingdom, who is putting this out, I feel like he's doing it single-handedly. I'm not really 100% sure about that, but I think that he is. And then he's just getting submissions from people. My cotton candy mitts in the shorts and the longs. This pattern will be for free with the pointy top. This pattern will be for free in that magazine. I do not know what else will be in that magazine. Could be anything. I just read one of Neil's Instagram posts that said that he just went all out on an article that he wrote. So I can't wait to read that. That ought to be interesting. But if you don't like it, don't blame me. Blame Neil. So anyway, February 1st, go follow him on Instagram if you're interested in getting that magazine. It's You Knitted Kingdom, like United Kingdom, but You Knitted Kingdom. And he'll have the details for how to get that magazine. While I'm thinking of it, I am wearing my Audrey sweater in Knitty McPurly Warsaw worsted. And this is the Jean Valjean colorway. This was knitted for me by my friend Rachel, who did the story about her dad's booties. She has done some sample knits for me, and she's just amazing. Like, it's perfection. The only thing I don't love about this sweater is that this was my original Warsaw worsted. I was kind of trying out some different worsted weight bases to pick the one that would become the Warsaw worsted. All of my yarn bases are cities that I want to go to. So this one, and it's fine. I mean, it's good. You can see it looks great. Like, it takes the dye beautifully. It looks awesome. It's just a little drapier than I like. And for a worsted weight, when I think worsted, I want kind of a sweater with some backbone. You know, I wanted to have a little bit of structure and strength. And so I did end up switching from this base to one that is very similar to my DK base. It's just a little bit crisper and with more kind of structure that I like. But yeah, this is my Audrey sweater. It's one of my most popular patterns. I have one knitter who just keeps making it. She's like, it's the perfect sweater pattern. I just keep making it. She wants me to make one for children. I don't know if I will do that, but it's just a very great kind of basic sweater. So, okay, this week's topic. This week we're going to be talking about seams. I feel like there is an old school idea that seams are just where it's at. They offer structure to the garment. They delineate sleeves and side seams and arm scythes, and they just are what should be in a sweater, particularly in sweaters. That's what I want to talk about. And I would like to say that I personally prefer knitting seamlessly. I think almost all of my designs have no seams. And not for lack of trying. I have a couple times tried to put seams in things and I have ended up not publishing the design, even if, frankly, it was kind of good. Here's a picture of one that I started designing, and I love this sweater. It's amazing. Color's amazing. I love the pattern. I love everything about it. And I just let it go because I didn't like the way the seams look. And that's not I don't even think I totally finished it. It may be gone forever at this point, but I just did not like the seaming. My brain just doesn't work in pieces, I think. Another thing that I designed recently, like within the past 6 months, I was just looking for kind of modern, what's cool in 2021 sweaters, and I fell in love with the sweater. So I decided that even though this example looked like it was knit in a very fine weight yarn, I decided I want to make a worsted weight pattern out of this, and I'm going to have seams because of the way that this, yarn works together and whatnot. So wrote the pattern, knit the sweater. I didn't do all of the calculations, but basically I put it on and my husband said, the 90s called, they want your sweater back. Here it is. Here's a picture of me in the sweater. It's gone. I've gotten rid of the sweater. I think I gave it to Goodwill. I hate it. Do you ever have this idea in your mind? Oh my gosh, it's going to be so great. And then you make it and you're like, yuck, it is terrible. So sometimes that happens and I just let it go. But this is another seaming example. And I know how to seam. If you can watch a YouTube video on how to do a seam, then you can do it. It's just not that hard. These are all properly done seams and I just don't like them. I don't like the way they feel. I love a faux seam, such as in a raglan increase. And there's an increase here and here on the side of this Audrey sweater. I like a faux seam down the side, but an actual seam, that's like why we knit, isn't it? To get rid of the seams. I remember one time a friend of mine saw my son in this he had this Oshkosh cable knit cardigan. And she goes, oh, did you make that? And I was like, look at it. I was like, do you see all these seams? I was like, this is a store-bought sweater. And she was like, well, not everyone knows that, moron. She didn't say that, but I mean, it was just one of those things where as a knitter, you can look at somebody from across the room and know whether that's a hand knit sweater or a store-bought sweater. But regular lay people are like, I don't know, maybe you made it. I don't know how you do it anyway. It's all magic. It's all witchcraft. But I feel like avoiding seams is why we hand knit. Tell me what you think about seams. I have tried. In fact, I pulled out some sweaters that I knit before I started designing to see how many of them had seams. I made Hohi's boxy cardigan, and that only has a seam here. My Molly sweater also seams here, just a little tiny seam. And that doesn't bother me, just a little tiny seam here. I do kind of like the structure here. When you're sewing and you have a short seam right here, a lot of times you will stitch in either a ribbon or some sort of a stabilizer, because this part of the garment takes a lot of pull. And so having like an extra stabilizer here in the form of a seam is a good thing. But you know, like here, I have this faux seam. I feel like that does it. I pulled out my, this is the prototype. This is not the actual sweater. This is just the prototype, the one I was, you know, kind of trying it out, of my Canyon cardigan. So this is an interesting sweater because you basically, like if this is the back of the sweater, you start here and you knit like this and you're increasing. Is that right? I think there's short rows in there, but you're increasing to make it longer. And then you basically have the back piece, okay? And then you bind off. And then, so you have this flat part here and it's flat here and then it kind of curves around the bottom. This is my Canyon cardigan I'm talking about. Then you pick up these stitches here and then you knit some more and then you fold it over and then you sew like a part here, leaving an armhole. And then you can put it on kind of like a vest. And at that point you pick up the sleeves and you knit the sleeves down. So that ends up having seams under here and that's it. I guess I don't mind a small amount of seams, but I don't want a garment that I have knit in 5 different pieces and then I have to go back and seam the whole thing. Okay, today's word of the week is yarn, our favorite thing, yarn. So I believe in other languages, my international friends, please help me. I want to say German, Icelandic, Dutch, those types of languages. Garn, G-A-R-N, means yarn. And I was thinking about that as I was researching this because a lot of the origin of the word yarn sounds like garn. Yarn comes from the Old English gearn, G-E-A-R-N, meaning spun fiber or spun wool, from the Proto-Germanic, I don't know what proto means. Does anyone know what proto means? Proto-Germanic garnen, G-A-R-N-A-N, from the Old Norse or Old High German, garn, like we just said, Middle Dutch, gern, Dutch, geren, from the Proto-Indo-European root, ger, G-H-E-R-E, which means intestines, guts, or entrails. Kind of like something long that stretches out, right? Interesting, cool. Going a little bit further, the phrase to spin a yarn, meaning to tell a story, originates from sailors in 1812 who, while they were sitting down doing some kind of basic mindless work, such as spinning wool into yarn, they would tell stories. So to spin a yarn originates from 1812. They would tell stories and spin yarn. And that is the word of the week. Okay, so I have to admit, yesterday I spent the whole day cleaning out the basement, driving to Goodwill, driving to the used bookstore, you know, taking stuff to the dump. And this morning it's been really busy. My son has a friend coming over soon. So I did not have a chance to look up any knitting fantasies. However, Cedar Hill Yarns is running a knit along, crochet along. I don't know the details. It's essentially to get the joy back. It's the for the love type of a thing. Let's get our joy back, kind of a knit along. I feel like there are 4 parts to it. To be quite honest, my brain can't process a knit along right now, but maybe yours can. It's the Unity, that's what it is. The Unity crochet along, knit along. Cedar Hill Yarns, go check that out on Instagram. I think that's where it's running from. If you are interested in uniting the knitting community like I am and like she is and like so many of us are, if we want all of us to come together in good, happy, joyful knitting without division, then please think about joining in on that knit along. I feel like you can use whatever yarn and pattern you want. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think maybe you can. But go look into that if you're interested. And that is my knitting fantasy, because it is my fantasy to participate in this knit along. But alas, Lent calendars and retreat planning and other stuff. So it's gonna be fun. Okay, so here's a fun thing. I am working on my design for the Lent mystery knit along. And by the way, I'm gonna do that a little bit differently this time. I'm going to include the entire pattern as a printout, just with no pictures, so that you're not opening envelopes. It will, I think, simplify that a little bit. So you'll have the whole pattern from day one of Lent on Ash Wednesday. And some of you said to me, I'm not a Christian, or I don't observe Lent. Whatever. Do you like yarn? Do you like kind of grays and pinks and purples and other neutrally colors that when all put together gives the impression that it's a neutral? Join in. It's going to be great. Anyway, I was looking for a little tiny project bag to slide in my purse, and I found this one, which was a prototype that I made a couple years ago, back when I was doing these Alice in Wonderland ones. And this is not even the finished design. Like, I ended up, the sides are totally different, but I just love it. I just thought it was so awesome. It looks so good. I've been having my project in that, and it makes me happy because I remember when I made it, and it takes me back. We can't have a knitting podcast on this podcast without talking about hair just a little bit. You guys, I dyed my hair this morning. Doesn't it look good? I'm so happy with it. So basically, just a quick aside, I mixed for the bottom and my roots, because the roots are growing in like half gray, half whatever my natural color is. So I did the whole bottom and my roots, and then a few pull through pieces. I mixed a 771 with an 8 NA and a 6 NN. Mix that with some 20 volume developer. Put that in. I'll put the stuff down below if you're interested. If you want to do your own hair, look up how to get it even and not patchy, because it's easy to patch it, especially when it's short. The longer it is, the easier it is to kind of hold the ends of it. But when it's short, you're kind of trying to, it's a little bit harder. And then on the what was left, the blonde part, all I did was tone it. I put on a Wella T27 mixed with a T14 and 20 volume developer. And then I just pulled that through the blonde, put a cap on it, left it for about 30 minutes, and I rinsed it out, and I'm so happy. Doesn't it look so good? Here, I'm so happy with how it turned out. Show you the back. So I used to do a lot more sewing. Now I'm doing more hair. I haven't been sewing lately. I don't know why. I don't know. But I haven't, my mannequin who you guys loved last time, she's still sitting there waiting for me to get to her, because she has a lot of pigment in that hair. And I don't work with any hair like that. So it's my first time. I think what I'm going to do is divide her hair into pieces and just, you know, try different things. But I think it's going to take a lot of bleach and a lot of time to get that, you know, the color out of it. But anyway, that's that. Did want to share this with you. For Christmas, Gigi knit me a hat. You guys, I vaguely remember giving her the yarn, but I have no interaction with this hat at all. Like, I did not help. I did tell her at one point that I wanted a hat that was sewn straight across and had 2 pom-poms. So this is the hat that she made for me. Oh my gosh, isn't it so cute? So I don't even know what she did. This is my Cranberry Crisp colorway, and this is Amsterdam Aran. And she just probably cast on 88 and then knit stockinette, and she bound it off on the top. I'm not sure using what method. It looks like maybe she kind of started one thing and then changed her mind, and then did the 2 pom-poms. So here is her. Oh my gosh, it's so good. She did such a good job. Isn't it so cute? So for Christmas, I had this huge surprise, which was this amazing knit hat from Gigi, who is 12. I have a little blooper to show you at the end. And she and Rocky are in that. But anyway, she also made me this book called A Love Book, where there was pictures, like cartoons of she and I, of her and me together. And I'm wearing this hat, and it was super cute. It was so cute. Okay, so here's what happened. Very, very happy to share with you that I have a podcast watcher story to read to you. This is from Cheryl Lee, who was my sock knit along winner. She was kind enough to send me a knitting story. She wrote it down, and I'm just going to read it for you. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. If you like this segment and you would like to contribute a knitting story, send it to me. You can Instagram message it. You can send me an email. You can write it out and I'll read it for you. You can take a video with 1 million effects. You can take a video with no effects at all. You can use your phone. You can just take an audio recording and send that in. In whatever manner you would like, send me a knitting story and I would love to share it here on the podcast. And without further ado, here is Cheryl Lee's knitting story. Back when I first married my husband, we were both in the military and we spent a lot of time apart because of our jobs. We were not even living in the same country in our first year of marriage. Oh my gosh, that sounds so hard. I can't imagine, which was very tough for us. First year of marriage is hard for everybody, but I can't imagine doing it in different countries. So I made the decision to retire from my job in Canada and to join him in Colorado. I really learned a lot about my husband at this time. One of the things that I discovered was that he had a drawer full of very worn out hand knit socks that he would not part with. I asked if he wanted to get rid of those old socks, but there was no way he would even consider throwing them out. Oh my gosh. All of our knitting hearts are completely warmed by the fact that your husband would not part with these socks. That is a knit-worthy man. His grandma had knit those socks for him and had given him a pair for Christmas every year. She wasn't around anymore to continue the tradition. As it turned out, my grandma, Cheryl Lee's grandma, had tried to teach me to knit socks back when I was a teenager. She had bought me patterns and supplies, but I was easily distracted back then. Amen, sister. I get it. I was off to see the world and never got around to knitting socks when she had still been there to help me. It was finally time to learn to knit those socks, and it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Grandma had written down all those helpful notes in the patterns that she left me. I had no idea those notes would be there until I started reading through the pattern books. It was like having her back again. I now often feel her presence when I knit. So that is how my grandma helped me to continue the family tradition of my husband's grandma. I have knit him socks every Christmas since that time. I am sure that both grandmas are pleased. Isn't that the sweetest story? Oh my gosh. And it fit in so well with the way that I procrastinated giving her prize, and then it landed on her birthday. Like sometimes the time when a person is ready to give us something is not the time when we're ready to receive it. And sometimes it will keep, just like it did in this situation. What a lovely story. So thank you so much, Cheryl Lee. Thank you all so much for joining me for the podcast. As always, this is so fun. I love this part of my week. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I'll have details about the retreat next week. If you're interested in the Lent Mystery Knit Along pre-order, that goes up tomorrow, Saturday, January 1st at noon. If you want to get one, go grab one. Thank you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye. All right, let's bloop. Oh, Rocky got a sock. He got a sock. Look at him. He thinks I'm gonna take the sock. I am gonna take it.
He's like, do not take my
sock.
Don't take my sock away.
Look at the people, Rocky. Oh, doesn't he look handsome in his Christmas collar? Just don't take my sock. All right, bye, Rocky.
Bye. It's gonna be very formal.
Bye-bye.
Farewell.